Cardano just hit a 65% loss from its peak, and it's about to get worse. But while Cardano's bleeding out, one altcoin is actually being accumulated by institutions right now. Stay with me because this comparison will change how you think about altcoin investing. The altcoin market is under serious pressure right now. Bitcoin's holding its own at recent levels, but look at the broader altcoin picture and you're seeing a bloodbath. Ethereum's down, Solana's struggling, layer 2s are getting crushed, but here's what's interesting. Not all altcoins are falling at the same rate. Some have fundamental moats that are actually protecting them during these macro headwinds, and that's exactly what we need to talk about today. Over the last 72 hours, we've seen major altcoins post their worst weeks in months. The total altcoin market cap has dropped roughly 12% since last Tuesday. Investors are pulling money out of speculative plays and rotating into either Bitcoin, stablecoins, or legitimate fundamentals. This is normal behavior in a risk-off environment. But if you're holding altcoins, you need to understand which ones have actual use cases versus which ones are just hype with a white paper. This brings us to the real story, the bifurcation between coins with adoption and coins with marketing. Let me break down two of the most interesting comparisons in this space right now, Cardano and XRP. Both have been around since the 2017 cycle. Both have strong communities. Both have ambitious roadmaps. But when you actually dig into the fundamentals, the data tells a completely different story about which one is actually building real value. Cardano's been positioning itself as a smart contract platform. The vision is solid. Charles Hoskinson is a known figure. And yes, they've shipped features. But here's the issue. Adoption metrics are actually disappointing relative to the narrative. Daily active addresses on Cardano have been flat or declining for months. Transaction volumes are weak compared to Ethereum. The total value locked in Cardano's DeFi ecosystem is barely moving. Meanwhile, the team keeps announcing Hydra, Plutus features, and other technical upgrades. But where are the users? Where are the applications that are actually generating real economic activity? Now look at XRP. Different story entirely. XRP isn't trying to be Ethereum. It's not chasing smart contract supremacy. It's solving a real problem. Cross-border payments. And here's the critical part. It's actually getting adoption. JP Morgan built JPM coin on the XRP ledger infrastructure. Major financial institutions are running nodes. Central banks are looking at the technology for their own digital currency work. This isn't vaporware. This is actual institutional integration. The data backs this up. XRP's transaction volume has actually increased in the last 90 days despite the broader market downturn. On-ledger activity is solid, and more importantly, the use case is concrete and measurable. Remittance corridors are expanding, payment providers are integrating the network, and regulatory clarity is actually improving. Now, let's talk price action, because this is where the fundamentals show up on the chart. Cardano peaked at $3.10 back in September 2021. Today, it's trading around $1.08. That's down 65% from the peak. And the concerning part, we haven't seen any meaningful accumulation at these lower levels. The selling pressure has been steady. Every bounce gets sold into. XRP hit a peak of $3.84 during the same cycle. Today, it's trading around $2.30. That's down 40% from the peak. But here's what matters. XRP has created a relatively stable range between $1.80 and $2.60 over the last 6 months. Institutional buyers appear to be supporting the price at lower levels. Every major pullback gets absorbed. From a technical perspective, Cardano is showing weaker momentum. The weekly RSI is in oversold territory, but that's not translating into strong buying pressure. The volume profile shows distribution at higher prices and weak hands exiting at support. If Bitcoin takes another leg down, expect Cardano to test the 80-cent level. XRP, on the other hand, is showing institutional accumulation signatures. Large transaction volumes during pulldowns. On-chain metrics showing long-term holders buying the dips. The support zone between $2 and $2.10 is holding strong. Here's what this actually means for your portfolio decisions. If you're looking at altcoins right now, you need to ask one single question. Does this project have real adoption or just potential adoption? Cardano has been 6 months away from serious DeFi traction for 3 years now. At some point, potential adoption becomes a liability instead of an asset. The market eventually prices in the failure to execute. XRP has something harder to find in crypto. actual institutional demand, and a concrete, measurable use case. The regulatory path is becoming clearer. Payment corridors are expanding. This isn't hype. This is infrastructure being built and deployed. Now, I'm not saying Cardano goes to zero. There's still a community, still development happening, and still upside if smart contracts actually drive adoption. But the current state is stagnation disguised as progress. XRP, meanwhile, is showing the characteristics of an altcoin that could actually outperform during the next leg up. Improving fundamentals, institutional support, real on-ledger activity, and regulatory clarity. If you're allocating altcoin capital in this environment, you need to be ruthless about fundamentals. The days of holding projects just in case are over. The market is separating winners from losers, and it's doing it on the basis of actual utility, not promises. Watch the levels I mentioned. Cardano at 80 cents if Bitcoin breaks down. XRP at $2.10 as a support zone. Both of those are critical technical and fundamental inflection points. And here's your key takeaway. In a bifurcating altcoin market, real adoption beats real estate every single time. Cardano has the real estate. XRP has the adoption. The charts and fundamentals are showing you exactly which one institutions are betting on right now. That's what's happening with altcoins today. If this analysis was helpful, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, and drop a comment with your thoughts on which coins you're watching right now. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.